without any forward vision here, KP just runs the risk of being ambushed every time.
Jeez, Carl gets very, very low on that mid lane up against Armel. I believe Armel did land a very nice shackles there onto Carl, and he's going to be all right. He does heal up once again. However, down towards the bot lane, Gabby is going to eventually get chased down by Cuckoo, and Zephyr and does end up dying. And this was something I was kind of waiting for. Again, it is a very, very tough lane for the Terrorblade, and eventually Cuckoo does get a kill there.
Oh yeah, it's all the magic damage they've got here on the side of T1. Like the Terrorblade, low HP, high armor, which means Viper doesn't really particularly care for that and just can melt right through with its magic damage. Even Zephyr now, right? Level 3 up, combination starting to hit a lot harder. Every single time Gabby does not have Metamorphosis, he's a sitting duck. So it's harder for him to walk up there and last hit, but as long as he pops the meta, that is downtime for T1. Cuckoo and Zephyr will have to take a step back, wait for that spell to just fade out. They at least can clear out the way with Nether Toxin. So even with Metamorphosis up, they still find something here in this lane, just kind of keeps it steady for T1.
Absolutely. Still a very quiet game, 5 minutes in, 0-2, but it might get active now as the bounty runes are about to spawn up. Tim's getting very low on that Mirana. We'll still be able to secure both top bounty runes, but it looks like the bottom ones were also going to be secured by T1 anyway. So a nice even trade with those bounties. The game continues, both teams pretty happy to just keep it going a bit slower. You don't exactly have the most active drafts up until you get past the roughly the 10-minute mark is where I imagine both teams will get a lot more active. But now, though, they are pretty relaxed and just happy to just chill out and farm. I think that is probably the right decision for both teams. If there's anyone really that can get active, you know, at the 5-6 minute mark quite yet.
Now, it's going to take both sides some levels to build up, a little bit of farm. I think we're looking at, I mean, you've got 6 in Carl, but he might just wait for level 7, level 8 is when we tend to see the mids rotate out. Of course, our Jug is just getting some steady farm. You can't really expect Jackie to start fighting. He's going for the Mask of Madness build, which I do like to see on Jugs. So his farm is set to escalate if he is left alone, and oh, Tim's.
Mid lane, they do catch out Tim's with that Dream Coil. Kick back. Oh, great snap there from Zephyr. It's a little combination we didn't really talk about too much, John, but the Dream Coil and kick away can be quite devastating, especially if you are a squishy support like the Mirana.
Yep, just a nice pickup there to help Carl escalate as well. So a really timely rotation out from Zephyr, and they've got to watch that kickback from Zephyr. He's already being annoying here. They've got this deep ward, keeping track of that camp in that bot jungle, keeping track of where Gabby's farming. So it's not smooth sailing for Gabby. He's been under pressure down bot,
nice
although a good arrow.
Yeah, great arrow in from Tim's. He's going to punish Zephyr for this, or maybe not the leap. Oh, Tim's, he went for a really smart play. Now Febi's courier is going to go down. And Zephyr, he's a man on the run. He's a fugitive right now, John. Tim's is going to chase him down. Arrow right to the back, and he should get this kill, though. Zephyr, no. You can't get away from this. Febi will be on the chase. Febi will secure the kill. A very, very close call there for Zephyr. And I just want to point out how smart Tim's was there, John. He saw the roll going from Zephyr, and he tried to leap to block the roll away from Zephyr as he wasn't in front. And unfortunately, he mistimed it just by a little bit. But that would have been an amazing play had he leaped and stopped the roll midair.
Oh, absolutely. Just a lot of back and forth mechanically there for both sides. And they go again.
Yeah, Dream Core is going to be there. Zephyr, no need to kick him back this time, but they have plenty of control. But I'll take him out very easily. And as I'm praising Tim's, he does die straight away. So I guess I'll just stop praising people now. Of course, top lane, Jackie's still farming away, and you pointed out the fact that he is going for the Mask of Madness build. He's also just currently top of the net worth board, as we tend to expect from Jackie. But the one real concerning thing right now for TNC is he's just about 1k ahead of Gabby on the Terrorblade. Although mid lane, Zephyr is going to die to Tim's. Now Carl going in, trying to go after Armel, but they have to get out. As KP was also rotating, and he will salve up Armel. KP, he does have the split. He'd love to have a crack at Whitemon or Carl. Carl will now show himself back onto Armel. Another dream call out. Armel very low, but Carl, he does not stick around to finish the kill off. Now the arrow landing perfectly from Tim's. They will get the puck, and now they go straight into the mid lane where they can clean this tower up with this Metamorphosis.
Oh, it's going to be a really fast push as well. T1 without the puck. A lot of their team fights missing. They don't really want to have to drag Jackie down, so they're going to have to let this go. Although the TP is coming in. It's a bit late.
Well, Jackie, this could have been a mistake. Not going to get punished. He'll be okay. Zephyr going to go in now. Goes for the silence, but the kick is not actually going to land. They could go after KP instead, but he can just go for the split, and he'll just turn back around onto the Earth Spirit, and that's going to be Zephyr going down. TNC, great rotations into that mid lane. They find a hell of a lot there. No, they basically even out the net worth.
That's a big set of wins for them. They also managed to get some deep wards in right before that fight, so they've got this ward watching the triangle and watching that entry ramp on the top jungle, making it really easy to track where Jackie's farming. This might cause some issues for Jackie if they don't get some D wards out. So heads up plays from TNC. They know what Jackie wants to do. They're already preempting that movement around the map, and with the mid tier 1 gone, rotations are slightly easier. T1 have to put some effort in to protect some of their side towers now, just ensuring that they've got a grip hold or TP points to help them control some farming areas for Jackie.
No, I do agree with that, John. Of course, the 10-minute bounty runes are going to be up now. Zephyr trying to set up for the top ones. It looks like he's not even going to bother. They are secured by TNC, but cheeky little Febby. They were meant to go to the side of T1 down to that bot side, but Febby does Icarus dive perfectly and does get the third bounty rune for his team. So that's going to give TNC a slight net worth lead now. Even with this Invis rune, he can scout out Cuckoo, and Cuckoo could secretly be in a lot of trouble if he's not too careful. Febby, he's also going to be slightly careful, as that Invis is halfway through. Even Whitemon showing up, but Febby just giving so much information back towards his team. It looks like they aren't really going to use the info. They are going to go for the arrow onto the Siege Creeper. That's all they're going to get. That T1 tower is still set to fall, as now Tim's be chased down by Whitemon. Whitemon would love to go for that TP cancellation, but he can't quite get the vision. Everything's still going to be perfectly fine for both teams. A 4-for-4, slight net worth lead to T1. Very close game to get us started on finals day.
Yeah, it's just an even start. Neither side really finding a major advantage yet, although I'd say TNC, with that mid-tier 1 gone, is a little bit better off in terms of map control. They are setting up for a tier 1 push up top now. It's only Carl to defend. There are 3 heroes up top there from TNC. They've got the split and egg ready. So this could be a risky fight for T1 if they were going to go for a defense, but looks like they're just happy enough finding farm. Jackie is pretty far forward, farming alone, but there's no threat with everyone showing up top.
Absolutely. T1, I mean, with this jug, I guess you just don't really feel like fighting too early on if you can avoid it. And we've seen what T1 does with Jackie. They always just allow him to farm, but they have rotated towards the mid-tier 1 tower. Now, if you're TNC, you do have the ability to try and defend this. Problem is, Gabby's meta is on a very long cooldown right now, so TNC, they're still going to try and slow this down. Of course, Jackie does have the Omni, so they have to be slightly careful, but just with their presence alone, KB, he goes for the front line, and they will be able to defend successfully. Of course, Jackie will just go back to farming now. He does want that MKB up ASAP. Problem is for Jackie is Gabby is catching up very, very fast on this TB now. Only about 600 gold behind. Second in net worth, and that is still going to be a pretty big cause of concern for T1 if they don't deal with Gabby.
Yeah, he's going to be a hard hero to pin down. He's got his Yasha up. He's going for the Dragonlance next, so his stats are starting to fly up. And they are slowly but surely just keeping control in that jungle. Those wards we talked about, they're still up there. Whitemon does find one, but the triangle ward still stands. So you still have a lot of information TNC's been able to use quite well. This has enabled Gabby to play that farming game, as they're always sort of have an idea as to where T1 is, so they know their Terrorblade's not under threat. This is a bit of a mistake for T1. Gabby is keeping up with Jackie. Like, Jackie's still ahead, but Gabby at this position with the Terrorblade, there is a bit more oomph to the Terrorblade early because of Metamorphosis. It does kind of taper out in mid of the game, but towards the late game it becomes kind of hard to control as well. So there's some spikes here T1 has to be aware of. They do smoke up, trying to hunt Gabby though.
They do. You've had that Omni on cooldown or off cooldown for such a long time. You'd love to just commit it if you were Jackie, but he's going to hang out in the mid lane for now as the rest of the team does rotate. Problem is, Fabi's going to break the smoke, but Jackie is still going to be targeted with a great silent stream call out, and they burst him down with Whitemon. It truly is Christmas with Whitemon, John. The freezing field does get the job done in a very snowy fashion.
Absolutely. Just really ripping through. And that's the one weakness of that Terrorblade. Before the BKB is up, not only are you worried about your Metamorphosis timing, but you're very worried about the magic damage flowing out here from T1. A good rotation out. That's the target they were looking for. They find the mid-tier 1 as well, and they find a double damage rune. So T1 just get everything they can from the map and bring that lead back their way. Not a massive lead, though. Just about less than 1k. Most of that riding on Jackie. So TNC are still finding their own resources on the map. You look at KP, he's already got the Hood of Defiance, he's got his Urn, starting to build up charges, he's level 10 now. So he's going to hit some pretty good spikes, especially once he hits level 12 with a second level in Primal Split. That could be a very big headache to deal with in the team fights. We haven't seen Fabi commit his egg yet, we haven't seen a big enough fight for the egg to drop, but those tools from TNC have yet to be revealed.
Of some sort?
KP's going to spot out Carl. Just trying to zone him out from those bounty runes on the top side. It's going to be another 2 for 2. Once again, T1, they do manage to get the bottom, and of course TNC get the top bounties.
Bounty.
I think TNC right now, as long as Gabby's farming, they're going to be pretty happy. He was slowed down quite a bit after that one death he had. Rather, the second death he had. Problem is, Jackie's about to finish that MKB off. He's just the Demon Edge away, and of course, with his farming speed, it's not going to take very long for Jackie to finish this off. And if he gets really lucky, he'll have the MKB up with the DD still in the bottle, and he can take advantage of both of them straight off the bat. And that is a very, very potent combination to have with an Omni.
Vanish.
They can catch it. There was a smoke out from TNC. Cuckoo.
OP gonna go on to Cuckoo. Rod of Atos is there, but there's your split coming out with an arrow out from Tims. That is gonna be a very dead Viper. KP trying to have a look for more. Orb is gonna be there. Carl goes onto the high ground now on KP. He does not have vision. Mel could power shot for this if he really wants to. They should know Carl is still up there, but he will eventually just orb and jump back down. And it looks like they're just satisfied with the fact that they do kill off Cuckoo. That'll be enough for TNC. They're not going to push anything further than they need to.
It's a core pickup for free. You're not going to be upset about that at all if you're TNC. T1, their Viper has been lagging behind. Definitely the lowest core in their end. Still slightly ahead of KP, so that's a bit of a consolation prize for T1. That the fact that Cuckoo's still somehow farming a little bit better than our Brewmaster is. You do want to keep it that way. We've seen Vipers fall behind, and it's never a pretty picture, so you want Cuckoo to get these aura items up soon. He's saving up for his mech. Once you've got that mech up, you can hold those fights a little bit better, but they spot out Tims.
Yeah, they do, and they have the Dream Coil once again. They have the follow-up silence there if they need it, and they probably will, but there's your Rod of Atos, there's your kick away. Carl will happily take another kill on the puck. Now has the Blink Dagger up, which is going to be even scarier up against this puck. So you're just not going to feel very safe if you're TNC.
It's a lot of control that's going to come in. Again, Carl is their main initiator right now on the side of T1. They do have at least a BKB up on Armel, so a very early BKB up along with a Javelin means that Armel can just focus on jumping in and trying to get a focus fire off without worrying about the control or damage from T1. So you're going to want the Ags upgrade on your puck down the line to deal with the BKBs that will get farmed up. But considering what Carl is going for next, looks like the Ags will take a backseat as he is saving for a Lincoln's first.
KP going back into that jungle is gonna barely spot out Zephyr, I believe. In fact, Fabi's gonna run straight into him now, but they're going for someone else. They want Whitemon on the Crystal Maiden. Outpacing with the wind run. Whitemon trying to juke this out, but a nice shackles is gonna be there from Armel. However, now they're kind of surrounded. If T1 want to have a crack at this, they could. But it looks like they do want to wait out Whitemon. And that's fair enough. No point really forcing a fight 4v5. I suppose with only the Crystal Maiden going down, they're not going to be too sad anyway. But Zephyr may also get caught out here. In fact, it looks like KP did not spot him out due to the fact that it is nighttime. Zephyr is also going to be able to walk away. I'm still very concerned for TNC though, John. Like, Jackie's going for an Aghanim Scepter now. He's got the MKB up and they've smoked up. They want to try and make a play with all these items. Level 2 Omni as well is going to be a very dangerous kind of skill up against TNC. We'll see how they do deal with it. They have not seen the MKB yet either. KP, he's going to go in onto Whitemon, who starts with a freezing field. However, a Dream Coil is there in the back. They got two massive cores. Moonlight Shadow was there. However, Jackie, he's actually gone down. Mel just locked him down. They have the damage output.
Fortified their structures against attack.
On to Carl now. Carl, he'll come out of the air. He's going to try and orb away. And looks like he is going to be able to blink towards the west of the map. But Jackie,
under attack.
I believe it was the Shackles that caught him out from Armel, and he does end up going down.
That's the one issue with this build-up on Jackie. He went all in an offense, Mom plus MKB, no Manta style to get a self-dispel or to dodge some of those shackles if possible. That just means he's vulnerable to control, and TNC managed to get that done. When the Omni Slash doesn't come up, you have nothing to be scared of. So Jackie just couldn't get the DPS out. We saw the Metamorphosis come right through from Gabby, paid off a massive amount in that fight. The egg also finally dropping, and the team fight of TNC is a lot more consistent if these spells land. Whereas for T1, it really just all falls down to Carl. There's so much pressure in the puck to get control early on to win these fights.
Debbie, he's been caught out, no egg available, but he can Icarus dive away, and he is going to be fine. Another one of the big problems in that last team fight, John, no detection. So Tim's just pops the Moonlight Shadow and they couldn't do anything. Jackie couldn't commit the Omni because he couldn't see anyone. It was a very, very kind of strange predicament for T1. And a bit of a unfortunate mistake to not be carrying a dust. And with that, TNC, they may be feeling confident now with the 4K net worth lead. They may try to smoke themselves once they have meta back up, which is going to be in roughly 50 seconds.
Yeah, and that was a risky play out from Jackie as well. He was trying to take the Roche solo as a bit of a bait, but he dropped really low. So fortunately for him, TNC wasn't in position to punish, but he is going to have to walk back. Jackie is now behind Gabby as well in that farming game. So he was only very slightly ahead before that fight. He's definitely far behind now. The Ags might help Jackie's cause, but it starts to become a bit of a back and forth game where it relies heavily on Gabby and him timing himself around Metamorphosis. If he's got Metamorphosis up, then chances are Gabby's just going to win every single engagement. If he doesn't, then you've also got this timing here in Jackie. Like, it's all down to his own Omni Slash, although at the least Jackie doesn't have to use that to farm, so it's always sort of going to be up there if they are going to force a fight. T1, they do catch them out.
Top lane going to be Tim's, and they have the silence out. Tim's, however, nice Yules, but Zephyr is there with the damage output to finish him off.
What is this? A game of some sort?
Tim's doing the right thing, of course, just pushing out that top lane, making more space in the map for Gabby. Now, Gabby definitely has that space. Top of the net worth, bought at 12.5k. Straight for that BKB up next. What they're banking on. Both teams essentially playing the exact same sort of Dota. Standard 4 Protect 1. Just let your carry farm. It is still a very carry-focused kind of meta. Be any economy or map changes. Though in case you weren't here yesterday, I did mention that we are going to see an economy and map change in about a week, apparently. So there you go.
Yeah.
Still Carl being chased up at towards the top lane. KP to have a rough idea of where he's gone, but Carl is just going to orb and eventually TP away. Nice, easy stuff there for Carl. We stay at a 10-8. Still a very slow game.
Yeah, the main issue right now for T1 is the fact that, again, all their team fights basically on this puck. The difference here is that their offlaners do not have that utility. KP's got his split. He can be a nuisance in fights. Cuckoo just throws out his spells and that's it. Maybe he spams some poison attack, but with 2 BKBs now on the side of TNC, you've got Armelts and a fresh BKB on Gabby. Your control's sort of gone. Your damage onto this Terrorblade is most definitely gone for now, as that BKB is going to mitigate a ton of the magic damage, and your one source of control is taken out as well. So it's all down to whether or not Jackie can whittle him down with his own right clicks and the Omni. And we haven't seen the effect of it yet because he was killed in the last engagement. Maybe you'd reckon he can, but he has just been farming, so a bit of a farm game here. There is a bit of a smoke, but they're just kind of clearing out the Roshan, keeping eyes out for rotation, so no major movements out. The Lincoln's is up on Carl, so he does have a way of at least avoiding the control that could come out from our Wind Ranger or even the Yules from our Mirana. It's not going to be as easy to land. But again, both sides are just relatively happy playing this farming game, putting a lot of trust in their cores.
Absolutely. That net worth lead has been dwindling once again for TNC though. 2k now. Just slowly going back down towards T1. But this Roshan fight is going to spell a lot of what happens in this game, I believe, and that's why you see both teams just posturing around the Roshan. They'll get the MKB up on Armel, and that's going to be time to go now for TNC. Big smoke up. But T1, they're ready on the high ground. This smoke may be broken very early as Cuckoo is going to be in the right position. He'll break the smoke and try to run, but he is going to be caught out and should just immediately die. Tim's going for more now. Finds out Zephyr. A great Yules out on the Earth Spirit. Should mean a secondary death here for T1, but Zephyr trying to run. There's your shackles out from Armel, however. They will lock him down. That should be enough for them to try for this Roshan attempt with the Metamorphosis up on Gabby.
Yeah, it's going to melt really fast. You've got a ton of damage coming through with our Melt's MKB as well. And T1, I mean, they could try to contest with her puck, but Carl's not quite in position. So a free Roche for TNC, first Roche of the game. We're going to have 2 lives up on Armel, and the game just gets harder and harder for T1. Like, they're still finding Farm and Jackie, but they've lost the straight-up net worth advantage, and this is not a position T1 tends to play from. They almost always play from a net worth lead, so they're going to have to really work an advantage out in an engagement, and so far, none of these engagements have gone right for T1. It's really all just down to Carl, and it starts to become the puck game in terms of control. So a lot of pressure on Carl to just get the initiation, set up for the pickoffs, and if he can't find the angle, then T1 won't be able to really reel the fight in the way they'd want it to.
Absolutely. That mid lane KP may have just spotted out Carl, and now he definitely sees him. One of that 26-minute power rune, but Carl is going to be able to take it away. Very valuable rune to get on the puck, as you already have such low cooldowns. It's making him that much lower is always going to be a very nice effect for the puck. Of course, down at the bot lane, they are slowly starting to work on that tier 2 tower. I don't think Jackie really wants to try and force too much yet. But then again, he does have the Aghanim Scepter. He may want to just work towards the Eye of Skadi before he gets too involved. But he is just so farmed up. Speaking of farmed, however, Gabby is even more farmed on that TB. And did start forcing down that top tier 3 tower. And it looks like he's not really planning on stopping anytime soon. Gonna keep that top wave pushed out. And of course does force out the rotation from Carl to make sure that they can't go any further. And this is all kind of just adding up to a big blow up of a team fight, I'm sure, between these two. One of those games where they're very patient, they're farming all game, but once the team fight happens, people are just going to explode. It's going to happen in probably a split second, just judging by how much farm Gabby and Jackie have. I feel very sorry for these supports on both teams.
They're going to have to watch out. TNC do smoke up. They've got a lot more time left in the Aegis, so looks like they want to maximize that now.
That's a big target. Jackie is going to spot them out. No Shackles coming out yet. He does have the spin, but an arrow not going to land. Shackles won't either. They're still going to go in onto Zephyr, but he'll roll away. Jackie's still in trouble. However, Dream Coil in the background there from Carl. He's copying a lot of damage for this. He's going to phase shift and just blink out. Tims is going to die. Meanwhile, White One now going to be focused down by Gabby. Onto Cuckoo. He's been left alone on the Viper. He's also going to go down. Gabby on a double kill. And once again, T1 does not fully commit to the team fight. Half of them go in, the other half stay out of it. Jackie still not really feeling ready for it.
Yeah, this jug is just... It doesn't feel like it's delivering on the net worth they've invested in. Like, yeah, you're clearing out towers. Jackie's not dying. He's only died once, but his activity's minimal. Compare that to how often Gabby's in the middle of these fights. He's 5-2-3. 3 assists on. He's just in the middle of it, getting the damage off, making sure that the investment TNC has spent actually pays off in these fights. Jackie, I'm not sure what he's lacking. He's saving up for the nullifier now instead, so he's going to have a way of getting some constant purges off, and you have the Ags up on Carl. This is a bigger one on our puck. So those BKBs aren't going to be as disruptive here for T1. At least your puck can find that angle. They need to group up a lot better. They might catch one though, Febby.
Yeah, bot lane Febby. He does have the dive away. He should just be okay, but Zephyr, nice roll, stopping the Sunray off the map. That's a perfect roll out from Zephyr. Not quite the second time, but it won't matter. Jackie, he'll commit the Swift Slash. He will be able to pick up his first kill of the game on this Jug. That's the first time we've really seen him get involved thus far. It's a nice start for him. Already queued up the nullifier as well, so just wanting to make sure that he's making it as hard as humanly possible to stop him from getting that big Omni Slash off.
Yeah, it's gonna be a nice pickup for him. You are still seeing Jackie fall behind Gabby. He is now 2k behind the Terrorblade, which is never good news. Gabby already has the Scotty up, has an Orb of Destruction on top to amp up his damage, and they go Moonlight again. They might go hunting here.
They may. Oh, Arrow does connect onto Carl. Carl's going to be all right for now. Armel just hanging around that mid lane, seeing if he can find anything for his team, but nothing's going to be of value. So he does have that new neutral item as well, the Psychic Headband. I do like this one. Plus 12% intelligence, plus 100 cast range. And you even have that psychic push going on, so it's almost like a hurricane pike in some way.
Yeah, it's pretty darn nice, especially in something like the Wind Ranger, so you get a little bit more value coming out there with the int. You can see TNC still confident, pushing out lanes. They're the ones in control right now. They've got this not massive lead, but massive momentum lead as well.
Slash, Jackie, he used the Swift Slash to just clear out the wave, but he's in trouble now. Looks like he's going to make his way out. Just pops the healing ward down, and TNC, it looked like they weren't really expecting that to happen. Prepared to jump him when he did go for that creep wave. Gabby very confidently standing in front. Run of Atos is going to fly out, but the Nether Toxin was off the mark. Gabby, he just does not fear anything right now, but maybe he should, because Zephyr has rolled in, kicks him back in underneath the tier 2 tower, but the shackles, Armel locks two of them in, but there's the Omni Slash coming through. It's just not going to be enough. Gabby survives through all of it, and KP goes for the big split. Freezing field, Whitemon trying to get the job done by himself now, but it is not going to work out in their favor. Gabby still has a Sunder as well. If he needs to play around with it, he'll Sunder Tim's up. Carl waiting around, will jump back in, does clean up Tim's. Did he pick it up? Yeah, he did. Carl is able to get the gem off the deck, but the problem is Gabby is still just pushing away in this mid-tier 2 tower. Zephyr goes for the Boulder Smash. Now the Swift Slash out into KB. Shackles, not going to land. The spin is there. A Dream Coil is out though. Gabby in trouble. Is very low on HP, but is still willing to try and fight this one out. And they just can't finish off the Terrorblade. Or maybe they can. Carl again jumping in. 200 HP on Gabby, but he's just going to run. Febby now to jump back in with a Fire Spirit. And here comes Zephyr with the rollback. Trying to catch out Armel. Is not quite going to be able to get him. And that'll be pretty much it. TNC, I'd say they won that one out. Kind of a close team fight, but it definitely did not go in T1's favor. The only real bright side for T1 there was they still hold on to that mid-tier 2 tower. But that's pretty much it. And I guess the fact that they got a gem.
They need a lot more in Jackie. Like, he jumps in with Omni. There's so many targets to bounce to, especially if that Primal Split comes out from KP. And even if you could focus down in the Terrorblade, your damage just really doesn't feel like it's enough. The armor's building up, the stats are up there on Gabby. You do see Jackie pick up a Shadow Blade, perhaps going for that Silver Edge upgrade down the line, so he's going to have a form of break. I don't know if that's going to be enough to handle the damage issue here. It does feel like it's just a way for Jackie to go in and out of these fights, but damage is still the biggest issue. Like, they just don't have that burst. Carl is doing a fantastic job trying to rip up the softer targets, though, but putting all that pressure in one hero, and that's been the story of this entire game, just so much pressure on Carl to deliver, it's not healthy. I think T1 needs to really start to get Jackie on the roll here. After this Shadow Ball, he's actually going for the BKB so he can stand and fight, but it's really an issue of damage. They just have no way of standing and fighting and finding any single kill without committing like 2-3 ults.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you on that. The thing was, that last team fight, there was quite a lot around Gabby, so the Omni was bouncing a little bit.
Tower is under attack.
But definitely, I would agree, even if it was purely just Gabby, they'd probably still have a few issues taking him out. It is probably based on the fact that his armor is just so damn high on this TB. As now they've smoked up again, they really want that mid-tier 2 tower, but they want to kill first. Gabby's going to show up and just start going after that tier 2, while KP is going to jump in after Cuckoo. He gets the stun off on the Viper. They should be able to burst him down fairly easily, but Cuckoo is still surviving. Now the rest of the team does come in. Carl in the backline, but they've lost the Viper. Gabby wants to keep going. We'll go on to Zephyr. Zephyr with the Ghost Scepter is going to survive for now. Rolling back in, but he's still in massive trouble. Gabby just standing his ground. Jackie trying to spin, but he can't get any damage off yet. He has the Omni, but he's not throwing it out, and he might be in trouble. He'll commit now just to try and survive, but it's nowhere near enough. The Manta's out from Gabby. He forces the bounces, and TNC, they just stand their ground and take all that Omni Slash, and it does absolutely nothing.
He's under attack.
There's just way too much sustain from TNC. Febby, he gets to stand in the back, he gets a full duration Sunray. There's nothing to stop him from channeling that. Carl's the only option to do that. Again, he's got to jump in, he's got to get his silence off with a Winning Rift, but that breaks up your entire initiation as well. And you're seeing TNC, they're so farmed up. You've got a Basher flying up on KP for whatever reason. The Basher Brewmaster is here. You've got the Basher up here on Gabby as well. He was supposed to get his Abyssal, but he lost his Courier. But you've got every single spike now on TNC's and T1. So many issues that still need to come out. The biggest thing on my mind is like Cuckoo's just not able to do much at all in the Viper. Like, there's not much you can expect from him.
Carl is going to be alright. He'll TP out on the tree line. I actually like this this Basher pickup from KP, because obviously he's going to work straight into the Abyssal Blade. And that Abyssal, I mean, just being able to lock the Jug down with some stun is always going to feel nice for KP. Of course, you probably also have one coming out now on Gabby, and yeah, he's got the Basher set up. He's going for that final Vanguard to finish off the full Abyssal. And you're going to have double Abyssals now just flying out onto the Jug and maybe even onto Carl, just to make sure they can burst these guys down before they can really do anything. And that'll make it so you don't solely have to rely on Armel to get all the disables out.
Yeah, it just gives them many more options to go in. T1 is just going to be... They have no answers to that. They have no way of blocking off the stuns. They have no way of protecting themselves now in these fights. It's just a 7k lead, which, you know, it's not massive, but if you look at Dota Plus, it's an 89% chance for TNC, and it's been pretty much their way since this game started, so even from the draft.
He's been caught out. One of Atos is there. He does have the split, but he's been silenced up. He's trying to survive, but he just can't do it. Meanwhile, Armella, great shackles out, connecting on two again. He's got both supports there, but Zephyr is going to go into that Ghost form. Meanwhile, Febby does kill off the Phoenix, or rather, Carl does kill off the Phoenix. Another great shackles out from Armel.
Silence.
It's not going to lead to much the second time.
Behold.
Both KP and Febby, both going to buy back now.
Radiant structures.
That Roshan is still standing there if both teams want to try and go for it, but of course TNC do commit the buybacks to make sure that T1 can't rush for it. Oh, would you believe it?
Oh, yes.
Gabby got an illusionist cape. Of course
Absolutely.
He did.
Yep. Timely. I mean, right after that Orb of Destruction, into that cape as well, and they smoke up. They want to make use of these buybacks. They do have their ult.
Great scan out from TNC as well. They just scan the high ground to see if anyone's up there. They know exactly where they are, so they can preemptively just kind of be ready for the jump in. This is Gabby. He'll go into the Roshan pit himself. And this is all just a bit of a bait here from Gabby to try and force a bad team fight out of T1. In fact, speaking of Jackie, he's been caught out by the shackles of Armel. Tims was just stalking him the whole time on the Marana. Now Zephyr has also been caught out, and he is set to die. Carl, he's going to try and jump in and delay this Roshan. He could be in danger though. Tims trying to chase him up. Won't be able to get the Yules off onto the puck. But it won't matter. They'll get something even more valuable. Carl, again, going to continue trying to delay this Roshan process. But unless he can swipe away the Aegis, this is going to be a massive win for TNC. And it looks like Carl has given up. He'll leave it. It's not worth him dying. That'll be Aegis going to the way of Armel. In fact, he takes the cheese as well. Whitemon in the tree line is going to be able to TP out in time. So at least he's going to remain safe on the Crystal Maiden.
Tower is under attack.
But a great play out from TNC to find out that jargon. Of course, Jackie, he did not have buyback gold. He's been buying out to try and get the BKB up. He doesn't keep the gold, though, to be able to buy back and contest Roshan.
Yeah, it's another big win for TNC in terms of objectives. T1, it looked good after they forced some buybacks, but Jackie is just so vulnerable. This has been the issue the entire game. He still doesn't have a way of purging off anything. He has no Manta to dodge out because he went for this Mom MKB build. The BKB is going to help a bit, but it's also not an amazing feeling to use that to just escape down the line. So you've got to really weigh your options here. They take out the outpost here for TNC, get him control in that jungle, and they're just so confident for running around.
Oh, mid lane, Zephyr also being caught out there. Armel once again on that Wind Ranger, being very disruptive and very good at getting these shackles off. See what the plan is, T1. I mean, they've got the BKB up now on Jackie, but you look at that net worth difference. Gabby 10k ahead of the Jug. I mean, Gabby's just out of his mind now. Going for the Daedalus up next. I don't know if they can defend this high ground, especially into the Aegis cheese of Armel.
Yeah, it's difficult. They don't have really the best high ground. All they have is a Dream Coil from Carl. That's it, and they're gonna have to play it really well. But the tower's just absolutely null.
On the bright side, they did lose that ninja gear. Armel, his courier did go down, so he's not holding a neutral item right now. But it won't really matter because Gabby's the main problem, and he has his neutral item. In fact, now the Abyssal Blade comes in. They want the Viper. Cuckoo may just go down underneath the tier 4 tower. He's going to survive for now. Jackie's trying to man fight this one out. Omni is there. BKB pumped by Gabby. A massive Dream Coil, but it doesn't make a difference. The Omni bounces. They weren't good enough. They bounced to the illusions. And Cuckoo now is just set to go down. Power shot is out from Armel. A godlike spree on the Wind Ranger. And they're going for tier 4 towers. Jackie still doesn't have buyback. Can they stop Gabby? I don't think they can. They're going to try. They go in. Gabby, he was the one with the Abyssal Blade going in. He eats the cheese, however. Does he survive? The silence is there. A lot of damage out. Roll back in. They do get the Terror Blade. Gabby just getting a little bit too excited there with that Abyssal moving forward. Does get punished. Now another Dream Core coming up. They've caught out Tim's now. The Mirana, silence is out. He's trying to force stuff now. Dagon is there by Carl. The roll not going to connect, but Zephyr is still going to be able to give vision for Carl to jump in and be able to secure that kill.
Radiant's bottom tower is
It's still an 11k net worth lead, and they did claim 1 Rax and 1 tier 4 tower. The T1, they are not out of this game 1 quite yet.
Yeah, they're holding on. There's a huge disadvantage in net worth now. We're seeing a lot of issues coming out from Jackie. I think it would have been alleviated if he actually did go for a Battle Fury build instead. At least the cleave means you get some damage off in an AoE. But that's not the case. We'll have to see how Jackie deals with this now. It's certainly becoming all about Carl. His puck is the one that's enabling some of the softer targets in the back to fall down. You've got really good backup here from Zephyr as well. And Carl is just going full in on the Dagon. Level 5 Dagon up. He's got the Octarine up as well. So much lower cooldowns and spamming that out. Very, very useful to have on this puck. And does mean that the side of TNC are super vulnerable when the BKBs are down.
Wait a goddamn minute though, John. Look at this. Zephyr going for the Aghanim Scepter on the Earth Spirit.
Yep.
That's what I love to see, John. It's not necessarily going to change how this game's going, but you never know what Zephyr could do with this Ags.
Oh, yeah.
Be very, very powerful in the right hands.
Oh, yeah. I think it's really nice. It allows him to save, right? Like, especially with Cuckoo. Cuckoo seems to be the bait. And that's all his Viper is good for right now. He stands in front. Everyone jumps in. If you have this Enchant Remnant, you turn him into stone. You pull him back. Keep him safe. And you're out of dodge. That's one way for T1 to really stall it out here.
I'm thinking more like you turn the enemy into a stone and kick them into the fountain. Because if Gabby wants to be aggressive like that on the Ancient, you can reach the fountain from the Ancient. Especially if he hasn't got the meta up. And that might be one way to really punish TNC if they get too excited. But apart from that, of course, you did point out the save potential there with that Earth Spirit Ags. Of course, he can save himself and kind of surf his way out of the team fight. But Tim's nice yules out into the arrow. It's a big pickup if they can finish it. And of course, Armel is going to land the shackles on the Wind Ranger. And Carl is going to give a mega kill streak away to Febby on the Phoenix. And speaking of Febby, John, he's also going for his Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah. Can make his egg have a lot more presence up. And of course, he can save people as well. So you're getting a lot of utility coming out here for TNC. T1, they have smoked up, but they don't have Carl. Could be risky.
It's very risky. I mean, Carl just offers so much team fight, and even with the Dagon, you have a bit more kill potential onto Gabby. I just don't know about this from T1. It's definitely very unexpected of them to try for a smoke like this, but I don't think it's going to pay off. They are going to give up on it eventually. They're just going to let this go down. High ground is probably the way to go if you are T1 right now and TNC. Well, they've got a full 50 seconds without Carl, so they could definitely try for this Tier 3 and bot racks. And even on this high ground, it's still going to be a very, very difficult kind of defense to try and go after. They'll pop the Magnetize early. And that's pretty much going to be it. The Magnetizer's gone. It did nothing. As is pretty standard for Magnetize. Doesn't really do too much damage. And, oh, now the Moonlight Shadow's out. 2 racks is up for TNC. They can just head back and wait for the next Roshan if they want. There's no real rush for them. They're just so far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they can play this game as slow as they'd like. You're at a very safe point here. With Gabby, he's not under any major threat. I believe he has his refresh flying out here as well. So you've got Terrorblade refresh. That means that he doesn't care too much about when his meta is down. As long as he's got the refresh ready. Always nice to see on the Terrorblade. And causes more issues for T1. T1, again, it's really all about Carl ripping the right heroes in the back line. He needs to watch how far forward he is in lane. You do have the Ags here on TNC's end, on Febby. So his egg is a lot more effective. He can save heroes that drop low. And T1 has just never gotten themselves in a position where they can actually focus the egg as well. So still a lot of issues to kind of sort out here. Even the Hex coming out for Tims, they're just so farmed up on TNC. And T1's just nowhere near.
That Scythe of Vice, it's going to be really problematic, especially if Jackie gets caught out. And of course, he's not going to be expecting this to be on Tims. It's not even Jackie, but Carl is going to be so influential, and if he gets caught out by the X, he's basically dead. T1 playing this very carefully, are going to back off. The Roshan going to be a minute 20 seconds away, so they don't have that option available quite yet for TNC. But knowing TNC, they will just patiently wait for it. They know it's going to be coming up relatively soon. I would definitely not advise that they go for the high ground for the Mega Creeps until they have the Aegis up. There's just no reason to. No need to risk it when you are in the lower bracket finals of all things.
Yeah, just get that steady win, find the safe objectives. There's still a little bit of power left in T1, and you don't want to give it an opportunity to swing around. You have some buyback saved up here for the side of T1. At least Carl has his. You've got Zephyr having it, so they've got some potential to go back for the last minute save as well. TNC just playing this patient game, keeping that farm up. You might see KP finish up his Abyssal here as well on the Brewmaster. So once that's up, that initiation you talked about is going to come into play. Makes it harder to run around. The one thing that T1 has to play with, though, is the fact that with these shards upgrading Zephyr, he has vision around the map as well.
Oh, Dream Coil is there in the backlines. They caught Armel out, but Gabby's going to get started. Still Jackie with the Omni does kill off the Wind Ranger, but now the Abyssal comes in. Jackie is going to die. He will have buyback gold this time around, but he is not committing it. Onto Zephyr. Gabby will get the job done very quickly, and Tims looks like he wants to chase down Carl. He's not going to be able to catch him out. However, they have caught out Cuckoo instead. And Cuckoo should eventually just be dead here, although he will try for a cheeky TP play, and he is going to make it. Still a 2-for-1. T1, they may be pretty satisfied with the fact that Armel did go down to Jackie. The problem is they might be forced to buy back because now the Roshan's up for grabs.
Too long with Metamorphosis still running. Even while it's down, it should be relatively quick. T1, limited options. You're going to have to fight into the Aegis Cheese plus the Ag's Blessing now. You're going to have even more utility coming out here for TNC. At the least, they did manage to finally get some punishment out on Armel. That was his first step of the game, so good amount of gold coming out from them. In that pickup, it's just not enough to sway this game fully. Cuckoo did steal the Blessing, it looks like, so at least he got the courier micro there.
Very nice. Where is Cuckoo's courier?
It died.
Oh.
He picked it up and it died.
Right.
Still stole it, so it's something, but it's not enough to correct the course of this game just yet.
Oh, well. Definitely a blessing, excuse the pun, for T1. TNC. Obviously, they're not going to be too unhappy. Where's the, Okay, KP got the Aegis. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's...
I suppose they're not really afraid of Gabby dying anymore. Like, he hasn't died for a very long time. He has so many ways to survive. Even the Refresher Sunder if he needs to. Cuckoo mid lane may get caught by Armel, but it looks like Armel didn't actually spot him out. Still a lot of patience here from TNC, but I imagine they will slowly move their way up through that top lane.
Yeah, they've got the second life, they've got all the items they could ask for, they've got another Hex here on Armel, they've got so much control onto T1. T1 for their part, I think what they're waiting for now is like, say, Carl's level Turkey. That would be pretty nice to have all its talents up. He can switch into a right-click build for damage, but again, he's just not itemized to really maximize that, and their towers just fall anyway.
Dagon is going to chip away at Gabby, but he is taking that Rax very fast unless a Force Staff comes out into a Dream Coil. But they go in. Omni Slash is there. Jackie doing a lot of damage with the egg. Comes out from Febby. He will save the day. They could not finish Gabby off. And that Omni may have been enough to save, or rather kill, but Gabby now just going to be able to take down Cuckoo into the tier 4 tower as they go. Carl's going to try and fight, but it's looking very, very tough. They've got to try. They've only got the Swift Slash to play with now, which doesn't really seem like enough. He does commit it, and he does absolutely nothing. And Jackie's been stunned up by the Abyssal Blade. He'll buy back. He's going to have to try and fight, but the arrow comes in. Tim's stuns him up as soon as he buys back. And now the Hex comes out. He is gone. This game looks to be over. Whitemon, he will channel the ulti, trying his best to try and turn this around. It is not going to work out. They're just diving the fountain now. Whitemon trying to run as he buys back Gabby. He wants the rampage. Can he get it? It looks like he can. A rampage for Gabby in game 1 of Final Sunday. And what a way to finish for TNC at 52 minutes in, just about. And honestly, John, with the way that game started, I thought T1 might be able to take this game 1, but TNC